Hi there, and welcome to another episode on the FM Tactical Series. Here, we use the community's tactics and we try and drive Gloucester City up higher on the table, chasing the elusive team called Manchester United, who are just romping off to another title. It gets extremely annoying every season, but yes, and I was getting a bit bored with my Gloucester City save, so I thought, why don't I do something different? And the objective of this show is pretty simple. Really, it is not a review show. I don't go randomly pick a tactic up, so there's no point asking me to go and try out Dr. Benji's tactics, because that's really quite. I don't even like doing that, because that's like looking at somebody's tactics and saying, I think his tactic could be better. That's not the way I do things. That's not even nice. He never asked me, and I won't do it without his permission. So tactics are submitted to me. I look at the tactics, and if the tactics are redundant, have redundant shouts, I will look at those and mention them on the show. So it's very interesting. Some people have suggested that I use the tactics without any changes and then see how it goes. But what's the point if it has shouts that don't work? Like in the last show, we have inverted wingbacks in a system that employs no defensive midfielders, and there's nobody providing width. Then there's no point. I mean, I need to point out clearly that something doesn't work or something has been designed wrongly, and I will do so. If I see a tactic is solid from the start, like Sandokan's tactic was solid from the start, I let it play. I just tweaked it based on the fact that some of my players need different kind of instructions, because it won't work with my players. You see, this isn't, and I've never encouraged this in anyone. Even on the forums when I moderate, I tell people, don't download a tactic without adapting it for your side first. I don't do that, so I need people to understand the way I play. I'm not trying to. This is not a review show. It will never be a review show. I don't rate a tactic from 1 to 5 stars and say this is a great tactic, go ahead and use it. No, I don't. I want to show how I play the game, and maybe you can take something from that and use it in your own tactic. That's the whole goal, to show you the many different ways you can tweak your tactic and do something with it. So if your tactic is already doing fantastically well, then these are small little tweaks that you can do to turn the tide in different matches, which is the problem most people have with this game. Most people I've spoken to on my Patron channel or even on Discord, they tell me, no, I can't score goals right now. Then I take the tactic, put it on the show and show them, well, see what I've done. I've changed this and I've changed this around. I've given this instruction to this player. I've taken that instruction of this player, and now you have a different way of scoring goals. That is the whole goal, to show you what's possible with your own tactic. And that's what I do on the show. So I will use tactics for like 45 minutes, even for one whole game, with minor changes sometimes. I will take out shouts or instructions that make absolutely no sense. Like, you put a look for overlap shout when nobody's going to be overlapping. Why? You use an inverted wingback when there's no width. Won't work. So stuff like this that's redundant, I will take it out. But where a tactic looks very solid from the start, I will use it. But then, if I need to tweak it in the game, I will, because that's what I do with my own tactics. I don't leave one of my. Have you ever seen me play a game where I play for 90 minutes and I don't make changes? It rarely ever happens, because the AI in this game changes its own tactic, will change mentality, will change shape, will change roles and duties in the game based on the time or the score on the game. So why should I play with my hands tied behind my back? No way. I'm not going to do that. So I hope you understand the goals of this show. And if you like it, then submit your tactics. You can always drop your tactics on SendSpace, Dropbox. Anyway, just provide a link to the tactic and I will cover that tactic in an upcoming show. On today's show, we'll be taking a look at how Silver's 4-2-3-1 wide. On the next show, we'll be looking at Cutthroat's tactic, which happens to be a 4-3-1-2. Okay, so let's get cracking with this 4-2-3-1 and see what it's got under its sleeve. Okay, so we have a pretty interesting 4-2-3-1 here. I kind of like this 4-2-3-1 right out the gate. It's got a fullback on attack, a wingback on defense. Interesting. I like this wingback on defense. I like people using wingbacks in this game right now. We've got the AP on support. Now let's see his instructions. Close down much more. Okay. There's only one thing that I'm going to say, but this will be happening in the game. I won't mention it now. We'll have to watch the game to figure it out. We got an AF on attack whose main goal is to attack defensive lines. So that's what an AF on attack does. Closes down much more. And wow, we've got a high block in front going on with all three players. Close down much more. In midfield, thank God you don't have close down much more in midfield. I would have panicked. Okay, you've left it on default. We've got a wing back who's been told to stay wider. I wonder why. And we've got close down less on your central defenders. Okay. I'm getting a bit nervous now. Then we've got few risky passes cross from the whole position. And yes, okay. So basically, it's playing standard fluid, which is fair enough. Quite a few of your players are going to be involved in transitions. Standard literally means you're not taking much risk. You're sitting on the fence, telling your players, okay, you go decide what to do. Okay, that's basically it. And you have a winger on support here, and I'm very curious because right now I have to find players who can fit into this system. Okay, so let's go quick pick. Sound effects coming from me. We'll use my version of the tactic. So here we go. We got Lacazette. So if you're going to look at all the players, Hajek is on attack duty. So let's look at Hajek. Can he play that role? He doesn't have much crossing. So we know he's not very good at crossing. His decision making is 17. That's good. His passing is 10 as well. He's actually a pretty decent just defender alone. All right. So we got two central defenders in Webster and Gomez. And then we got Mafio, who happens to be the strongest player in my team when it comes to getting up there. He's got the most assists. He's got 13 assists in 24 games. So it's like in this tactic, I'm telling my biggest bazooka not to use his bazooka. So, okay, we'll tell my bazooka not to use his bazooka, which is very sad for me. Okay. Then in midfield, they want me to play Charles Barkley. Okay. Let's look at Barkley. He can't tackle. The first thing I look at is his tackling. No. Then his mentals, concentration, positioning. Dear Lord, you want him to be DLP? That's not happening. So we've got Almeida who's injured as well. So this is really sad. So in my system right now, we can't play Almeida, who's the first choice. The second choice would happen to be players like maybe to some extent Taylor Moore. Joe Hanks is like a third choice. Don't really have a player. We'll have to use Papa Aluon and Dae. Again, his passing is 16, his decisions is 13. 13 is just okay, I guess. So we'll have to get Papa Aluon and Dae. I love pronouncing his name. I can't help it. Okay. Then up front we got Lopez as the playmaker. He should be fine in this role. Okay, that's good. And then we've got Germano, Lacazette, and Gomez. Now, the shouts in your team, you're not using any shouts out of the gate, which is kind of cool. I always recommend to people, when you're not sure about shouts, don't use any shouts. Okay. No shots have been used. This is a very but what I'm going to do in this game is we're going to play this with Gloucester City in one of their matches and see how it does in the first 45 minutes. So let's see how we go. We are playing somebody called Crystal Palace away from home. Crystal Palace. Oh yes, in case you're wondering, you might have seen me playing Crystal Palace before. Yes, there was a crash in my game. I didn't save the tactic, so I had to go back. I think and start playing it again. So it's a bit of an annoying thing to see happen, but we'll have to make do with the situation the best way we can. Hanks will ask Sergio Gomez. Yeah, we send the captain over to talk to him and he just shut up. Okay, that's cool. So usually for most of my tactics, I can see where the goals are coming from. Here in this particular tactic, I'm not too sure. So we'll have to see how it goes. All right, so let's start the match. We'll watch it on key highlights and we'll slow the game down. All right, here we go. The boys are off blind. The ball goes behind the defensive line, straight up. The first pass was behind the defensive line. I want to see the the play being built up. So far, nothing much is happening. We're holding Crystal Palace. Gloucester City are doing pretty well in their half. We're going to have to go to extended highlights. After 15 minutes, and still not seeing anything. So no real chances created by Gloucester City after 15 minutes. And we are both playing a 4-2-3-1. Juan Mi with the ball. Plays it into space. Gray gets behind. Not good. I'm not sure why that's happening, but this we might wanna change mentality pretty soon. Ndiaye to Lacazette. Lacazette out on the flanks. I mean, this is without any shouts, and I do encourage people to use tactics if they don't understand something. If you have the players, don't use any shouts first. Watch how it plays out, and then make your decisions based on what's happening in the game. And to be honest, most of the time I'm itching to make a change. So I'm trying my best not to make any changes here because I need to see how this system plays out first. And right now, I don't see a lot of variation in attack. That's the first thing. I know I'm not seeing a lot of variation. I haven't seen a single highlight of an attack from the left flank where the wing fullback is on attack duty. Nothing's happened there. And I'm looking at my AP on support. I'm also going to start paying attention to the playmaker because I want to see whether this playmaker creates space for the wing back, the fullback. Excuse me, I have an incoming phone call. So apparently I just received the incoming phone call from somebody who wants to come to my house. So we'll have to try and see everything as quickly as we can. But so far I've not really seen a transition from defense to attack from Gloucester City, which is a big concern to me after 21 minutes. Right. So we haven't seen one build up consistently, and that's a sign of something that is not really right with the team. Okay. First thing there are changes you can make. First up, the goalkeeper is kicking long. We might want to ask him to play short to the fullbacks. The second thing we may want to do is start observing Lopez. Now, you can notice that he has sat inside. The fullback has gone down the flanks. Okay, all right. And still the attack breaks down. Okay. Lopez tries to go in and cut out the attacking playmaker Cedric now with the ball. Bailey, Juan Mi. Where does the team... You see, this is the reason why... One of the reasons your defensive line traps. Nothing is really happening. The two central defenders are closing down less. They're not doing anything. They're just standing there being defensive blocks. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But you are asking your team to defend very near the penalty box. So I would take that off if I wanted to play deep and hit them with direct passes across the pitch. Secondly, if I'm just looking at passing percentage numbers, our passing numbers not very high, down also to the fact that most of the players have a mixed passing. Hajek plays a mixed pass. The defenders play the mixed pass to Hajek. Lopez with the ball to Hajek now. Hajek loses the ball. Oh, he manages to get it out to Z Gomez, but Z Gomez, who's an advanced forward and attack, a lot is being expected of him to attack the defensive line. So he's on his own. Z Gomez gets it to Lacazette. Lacazette cuts in, tries to work magic on his own. He's brought down at the edge of the box by Anthony Adu. 45 minutes, nothing is happening. Okay. Have we had many shots on goal? I have not seen one. Have you? Gloucester City, 3 shots only. And only 1 on target. The important thing here is on if you go to key highlights, you'll see very little. So now let's just go back to key highlights because I'm going on extended just to see something. And if I'm looking just at key highlights, there's very little there. Somebody in my house is pounding spirits. Oh, set piece routine. If that had gone in as a goal, I wouldn't have gotten excited because that goal comes from a set piece routine. Okay, so second half, I'm far from peace. Let's try and see what the boys can do. Germano to Ndiaye. Ndiaye out to Lopez. Lopez with the ball plays it out to space for Hajek. Hajek gets away, and the whole attack breaks down. Okay, let's tell my boys to go attacking fluid instead. Let's try and tell them to take more risk without me doing anything else and just using mentality and mentality to tell them to take more risk. Makes a lot of sense right now. Here, Ndiaye to Lopez, Lopez inside the box, Ndiaye crossing it to Lacazette, Lacazette tries again and it goes wide. Well, the team is playing okay. We're not really dominating Crystal Palace at the moment. So there are certainly things that I can do. Certainly things that we should be doing to the tactic to make it play a bit more effectively. At the moment, it is not. So we've got about 10 minutes to go. We're going to try and make some quick changes to the tactic. The first thing I'm going to do, and I have to make changes because nothing is happening, and I'm not going to sit down here and expect, and more risky passes. We'll tell him to go direct passing now. All right. With the DLP, he's playing more risky passes. I want him to go direct passes as well. And with Lopez, I will tell him now, I need more room, right? So we'll tell him to sit narrower. We'll tell him to play mixed. No, we'll tell him to be direct. We want him to... This will be enough for him. Sit narrow will give us some space for this guy. We're going to turn this fullback and tell him to not stay wider. We'll just tell him to take fewer risky passes, dribble less. I want him to dribble less, but I want him to cross from byline. Okay, this Mafio is going to be playing shorter passing. Okay, here we're going to remove the close down less instruction. We're going to remove the close down less instruction from both these players. Here we're going to not tell him to play mixed passing, few risky passes, shoot less often, dribble less. So Collado now is looking to pass the ball short. We got a winger on support. We are changing quite a lot of instructions right now. So I've gone around, basically told him to take fewer risky passes. I want him to bomb down the flanks. So I can see your instruction was to try and get him to attack the flanks, but now I'm making him do it with a sense of urgency. So he's been told to cross on byline, and I've told Lopez to cut inside. So by cutting inside and sitting narrower, he's already cutting inside with the ball, but now I want him to sit narrower as well. So by sitting narrower, he actually gives this guy space to attack the flanks. The rest of the here we have an advanced forward. The problem with an advanced forward is he's so far in front sometimes that he doesn't really become, he doesn't really become part of the attack. So we're going to change his role to a poacher. Now, a poacher is a very simple role. He just, if he can't break the defensive line, he's going to pass the ball to somebody behind him. So we've got a poacher now. So we don't have much time to make all this. We don't have much time for these changes to come through. So we're going to play on a slightly deeper line. So I'm going to try and draw Crystal Palace out. We're going to play out our defense. We're going to pass into space. Why am I passing into space? I've got players attacking space, right? I've got the poacher and Germano attacking space from the middle. So literally we're attacking down the middle. We're going to prevent short goalkeeper distribution. I'm definitely going wide. And because we have one striker in, I want the crosses to be whipped in. This will help with some urgency as well. And that's it. Nothing else. Well, Gloucester City, in the last couple of minutes, our passing numbers have gone up. You can just watch the passing numbers, they're shooting up. But we're not doing very much in terms of trying to break down Crystal Palace. Wow. There wasn't enough time. 10 minutes is just not enough time. So this is a match we should have won, but we didn't win this game. It's a bit disappointing. Yeah. Well, okay. Overall, definitely something should be done with the tactic. I can't use the tactic as it is for my team, and we'll have to make changes. But our changes came too late against Crystal Palace. So now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to play Crystal Palace again. But this time around, I'm going into this tactic and I'm making the changes right off the bat. So we're taking the shot off. We want you to play shorter passing, fewer risky passes, shoot less often, dribble less, cross on by. And that will be your instructions. We want you to wing back on defense, dribble less. That should be enough. Shorter passing. All right, we take this off. We take the close down less shot off. We want you to fewer risky passes. We want you to go direct, and definitely dribble less. We want you to be a poacher. Okay, and we want you to sit narrower. You're already cutting inside the ball. Dribble less because Lopez is okay, but he's not that fantastic at dribbling anyway. So moving on, support. You can play more direct. You are playing more direct. Where are you? Direct. Okay. You are playing more direct. Direct. Move into channels. Alright, so you are doing everything that you're supposed to be doing anyway. So those are all the changes that I made. Now, we are also playing control, fluid. I'm going to be playing with a slightly deeper D-line. I'm passing into space, playing out of defense, preventing short goalkeeper distribution, and whip crosses. Okay, we're done. We're also playing fairly. We're also playing wide. So that's it. The instructions have all been made. We are going into the game against Crystal Palace, playing them again, and they're probably going to use the 4-2-3-1 one more time. In the first game, there was not enough time for my changes to kick in. I mean, with 10 minutes to go, you don't expect your side suddenly to go, oh, let's go for the goal. Right now, we can see goals coming one way, but at the moment with my team, I wouldn't be playing it like that. I'm just, this is the best I can do, trying to maintain the flow of the tactic. And let's start the match. And here we go, Z Gomez to Collado. Collado to Webster. I wonder where all that... Suddenly my computer has just reacted as if it's been given a lot of instructions. The fans are going crazy. Lopez to Collado. I can see what just happened during that transition. They are going down the left, which is what I wanted to see. Germano with the ball. Back to Collado. Now to Lopez. Look at my wingback go. Look at the fullback go. He's got the space. He's inside the box. Mix up pass to Z Gomez. It's an early goal. Straight away, we've got the fullback attacking down the left flank exactly the way we wanted. But unlike the first instance of the tactic where I didn't see many of those attacks down the left flank, now I immediately see one in the very first highlight of the game. Okay, as you can see, Hajek, he doesn't have great crossing, so I'm expecting him to pass it short. Z Gomez didn't get to the ball, but Germano makes no mistake. Alright, we'll go to key highlights because that's enough. Okay, Mafio with the throw, plays it to Ndiaye. Ndiaye plays a direct pass to Lopez. Lopez direct pass to Z Gomez, but he's the only one there. Collado out into space for Hajek again. Hajek and Z Gomez makes it 2. The boys are playing well. Crystal Palace. Yes, this is how we should have played in the first game against Crystal Palace. But yeah, I'm happy. I can't complain, but I wanted to try your shouts out because there is something to be said about not using too many shouts, right? Okay, that's fine. But shouts add something to your game, but you need to understand what the shouts actually do. And in our game here, our shouts are very simple. We are only using these 6 shouts, and it's with a reason why. Slightly deeper because I want to pass into space. I need them to drop a bit deeper when they don't have the ball, drawing Crystal Palace in so that we can hit them a bit faster with balls into space. And I've got several players playing those kind of direct passes, including Ndiaye. Oh no, Z Gomez is injured. Okay, Z Gomez, you shall give way to Will Grigg. Alright, so we'll bring on Will Grigg. So I've basically conceded some of the pitch to Crystal Palace, right? So we're dropping deep, allowing Crystal Palace to attack us, then we're going to hit them. This is one way of playing the game, but you see what I'm going to do next is even more. I'm just going to take this instruction off. Now I'm going to use the offside trap. Okay, slightly different now. We're letting the team attack a bit higher up the pitch. We're going to have an offside trap on. And now pass into space won't really be working as effectively as it did before. So we are taking the shot off. Germano, free kick into the box. Z Gomez, the Sergey Gomez, the defenders. Your set pieces aren't that bad. So whatever you've done with your set pieces, they work, Al Silva. So what did I do with the tactic? I just made certain roles play more specifically. If you are a playmaker, play direct. So we get a bit more urgency. So what I've done this in a show I did called Creative Passing. To my patrons get both episodes, but on YouTube you only have one episode. Here you tell your team, you give your team instructions, right? So some of your players are given direct passing. So when you play with a higher mentality, those players start hitting balls with a lot more urgency. So you don't have to like raise tempo, for example. Things things like when you play on a higher mentality, some of the players will take a bit more risk with their passing. Now you notice one slight thing has changed, right? We have pushed up our D-line. We're playing normal, so you see something like that happen in the game where the boys are attacking you and your players to rush back into position. So what we can do now is we can go standard, we can go flexible. I'm just using the shouts, right? I'm not making any changes to the system because this is what I call a super system, right? When you've made your instructions so specific to your players that all you need to do is change shape or mentality and just enjoy the game. That's it. This is how I want to play football, right? So this is how I use your tactic in my system and how I apply it to my players. In the first instance, it was a fairly predictable style of football. Now I've taken it and made it a bit more unpredictable, and the boys are playing with a lot more confidence, and I can see the transitions are a lot more effective and faster. And now we're playing on standard flexible, so we're not taking a lot of risk. We're playing 50-50 football and just enjoying ourselves towards the final whistle. And Gloucester City, well, they should seal their appearance in the next stage of the FA Cup fairly easily. So you don't. I understand why some people want to use close down less, but you don't. In a manner of speaking, you actually wanted those two players in midfield to drop back, but you don't really need to do that. If you can adjust your defensive line, you get the same effect. So why would you want to do that? Because you already got closed down more on some of your players, so leave it. So there we go. Gloucester City, second time of asking using this tactic, they did quite okay. We beat Crystal Palace. Let's compare the two heat maps, right? Because there's not much difference in both games. So in this game, teams, let's look at the possession heat map for Gloucester City. Here, this was our heat map against Gloucester City first time around. Not really very dominating. Okay, the second time around when we made the changes, our teams and our heat map now for Crystal Palace was like that. We allowed them to attack, but Gloucester's heat map was a lot more pronounced this time around. So for average positions with the ball, if we remove the heat map, we'll see it a lot more clearly. This is what we look like with the ball. If you look at this, we have like literally a 3-3-3-2. See, I got those wing back. Our fullback is now playing more like a midfielder here, so there's a lot of support for our players. Now let's take a look at the first instance of the tactic, which is kind of cool now because we can actually compare the two teams. Gloucester City with ball. Look at this, 4-2. There's little. I mean, it's almost the same, but not as wide. You wanted this guy to stay wider, but you don't get that effect. So the two systems have played slightly differently based on some of the shout changes that I made. Well, we've dropped a point against Crystal Palace, which is really ticking me off. Well, I tried to follow the tactic, but I knew in my heart I had to change it. But I needed you to see the difference between both games. There is a huge difference between both games, and I hope you saw that. House Silva, I hope I pronounced your name right, and if I didn't, I do apologize, because in the next match that I'm playing Sporting Lisbon, and the tactic that will be featured for that show is Cutthroats 4312. I can't wait to try Cutthroats 4312. So if you want to send your tactics in and you want me to take a look at them, please let me know. But before I go, I'm going to run through the tactic for House Silva one more time. Alright, what did we do? At the back here, we told our goalkeeper to roll it out to the fullbacks. Then in midfield, we gave this guy a lot of PIs. Shoot less often, dribble less, pass it shorter, few risky passes. I chose Hajek to pass it shorter. There is a really good reason why. His passing is 10. So he can't really pass the ball. And he's crossing his 10, so he can't really cross the ball. So I told him, dude, keep the ball. I know you can't pass, I know you can't cross, just pass it to somebody who's near you. Okay, so that's really what I did. Wingback on defense, on the other side, pass it shorter, dribble less. Basically, don't do too much with the ball. You get the ball, give it to somebody else. Your job is to be defensive. Okay, cool. These two players took out their closing down less shot. Collado, pass it shorter, few risky passes. Why you on defend duty? Don't try anything smart, just keep things simple. And Dae, you're supposed to be the playmaker on support. You're supposed to get up there and help with the attack. Right? So play direct. Play more risky passes, but don't dribble. Because he's in a position where if we lose the ball, transitions will break down. AI will get the ball, so don't dribble. On the right flank, Lacazette, I need you to play with a lot more urgency. So play direct passes. So in in the center, again, this player, I need him to play direct passes with a lot more urgency, more risky passes, move into channels, close down much more. In fact, we saw Germano score a goal because he moved into the channel when the ball didn't land at the feet of Z Gomez. And Gomez is closed down much more. Lopez, of course, you want him to sit narrower and close down much more. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you have any questions, you know where to find me in the same old places. Once again, if you want to submit your tactic, please drop me a link to SendSpace or Dropbox and I'll get back to you. For now, I'd like to thank all my patrons that continue to support this channel. You guys take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye.